Greetings, everyone. Sorry I'm not able to join you live. So this is a pre-recorded message. However, this is being shared either on different social media platforms. Please feel free to send us a message, and one of our advisors or admissions folks will reply to you as soon as possible for any questions you might have. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started on this presentation, talking a little bit about IT programs and how does Green River College maybe help our students achieve their goals in this potential career or major pathway. IT is actually uh, one of those things that I think is commonly misunderstood. IT can mean a lot of different things. I think it's oftentimes misconstrued as, you know, something that covers computer science or computer engineering or network engineering and all these other things. And unfortunately, IT does cover some of that, but does not cover everything involving technology. So what I might be thinking about is, for example, our BAS IT programs here at Green River are sectioned off to two different programs. We have a program in software development and another one in cybersecurity and networking. And generally, that's probably what I think most people would think of when they are thinking about the IT programs. But there is a distinction also because those programs, we do offer a full 4-year program at Green River. Many of the students that come to study at Green River College through IP and international programs usually have the intent of maybe transferring to a 4-year university to finish the final 2 years of their program in, let's say, MIS, Management Information Systems, or Information Technology. And because of that distinction, they also come with, maybe some different planning, different classes. Uh, so some of these common questions I get asked, the first one is, what classes should I start with? So, coming from that background, understanding at Green River, I'm asking students oftentimes if they're interested in IT. Well, for starters, do you want to stay at Green River all 4 years, or do you want to transfer? For the programs at Green River in software development, cybersecurity, and networking, they do have a unique set of classes for each of our IT programs. So generally, I often tell those students to maybe start with English and some of our classes in things like programming or networking basics. And in fact, I really recommend they take both, since students come to Green River College without knowing which path they maybe want to take. And that way, when students take both of these, programming and networking, they can kind of figure out very quickly where their strengths and maybe where their preferences will really lie in either field. But a lot of other students, and rightfully so, they're very ambitious and they want to transfer to the best colleges in the world. And maybe Green River isn't part of that plan, at least not for the full 4 years. So when they're thinking about transfer, it might also surprise you to know that um, you will more often require classes like business, accounting, and economics to get started at Green River. Because oftentimes, when you're thinking about IT at a transfer school, they're really talking about a program like MIS, or what they call Management Information Systems. And they usually will treat that as a business major. Because if you really think about it, uh, as a profession, you would probably end up working in the business environment as an IT professional. So whether it's networking or information tools that you create and operate with, you're oftentimes looking at working in a larger organization or enterprise. Unfortunately, a small mom and pop's restaurant isn't going to support very many IT jobs as individual storefronts. But if you're talking about a larger organization, then obviously we're talking about a very different thing. Another common question I get asked is, what universities should you think about transferring to? So obviously, ignoring staying at Green River all 4 years, where would you want to go after Green River, after you're finished studying your associate degree in your first 2 years? Well, there are a lot of great options out there. As an advisor, I would try and do my best to identify the schools that best need your preferences or your needs. It's not one size fits all. There are a lot of different transfer options after Green River. After all, we do have the mantra of you can go anywhere from here. But generally, though, for transfer, there is Arizona State University, University of Arizona, University of Washington. Those are some great options. In fact, some of those schools, particularly those two Arizona schools, we do have a transfer pathway agreement. So they make things easier for students to transfer. Not to mention that they are highly ranked. So those are some compelling reasons I'll recommend some of those schools. Uh, Another common question, what are the different areas of IT that I can study? IT is wide ranged. Uh, some of the most common areas that I think I see some students pursue, maybe different specializations, would be analytics, MIS, management information systems, information technology, cybersecurity, or what's also called information assurance. So that there are different pathways you can pursue in the IT field. Another thing is also, what are those things? What do they mean, or what do those different areas represent? So analytics, textbook definition, is the study of information resulting from the systematic analysis of data or statistics. A simpler way I like to put it is to think of it like putting together the data that's necessary to make fancy charts and graphs. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to help decision makers, um, figure out what pathways to take. So if the data points one way, you as an analytics person you're trying to find that information in the data. MIS, or Management Information Systems, is a computerized information processing system designed to support the activities of a company or an organization, managed like networks, databases, customer management software. A lot of these really big companies have so much data, so much information to pull from, but how do you organize it? How do you make sense of it? That's kind of the purpose of an MIS person. IT, information technology, is the use of computers to store, retrieve, transmit, and manipulate data or information. IT is typically used within the context of business operations as opposed to more personal or entertainment technologies. Cybersecurity, or information assurance, is the protection of computer systems and networks from the theft of or damage to their hardware, software, or electronic data, as well as disruption or misdirection of the services they provide. Especially when you think about how big some of these companies have gotten, or how private some of our data is or needs to be. You want the best cybersecurity possible, both as a, obviously as an individual, and as a customer, and as a company. Another question, what does the job outlook look like? So I think it's quite spectacular, especially here in the United States or abroad. There, especially in COVID times, we rely so much on all of our IT infrastructure to really keep things flowing. I wouldn't be able to record this without IT. I think that just underscores the need for the people to work in these fields, especially competent people. And I think Green River College itself has done a great job in their program to make connections in businesses and organizations locally. It's not just about the big companies that a lot of people think of, like an Amazon or an Alibaba, but smaller, more local companies like BCU, or, I mean, technically Amazon and Microsoft are local, and our graduates do sometimes work there. But there are so many different companies that have a need and a drive for these different kinds of professionals. The last thing I wanted to bring up are just a few of our success stories over the years, from students that have majored in IT, and where they've transferred and what they're up to. Um, I know there are regular stories being put out there from our BAS software development program. I'm just going to go ahead and read one off right here. Mike Prolesnik. He was a former excuse me. He was a former middle school teacher and a retail associate at Costco. And Mike decided to make a career change by starting the BAS program 2 years ago, and graduated, and now has become a test automation analyst. So, if you want, especially for students that maybe want to stay local to the Pacific Northwest, there are a lot of opportunities in our area in the IT programs. Another student, Phil, who was uh, made a living as a musician for 25 years. Congratulations, Phil, on that. but he also has now made a career change, enrolled in our program at Greenriver, and then subsequently has gotten a program coordinator internship working in infrastructure and shared services team again at Costco. So shows that our graduates through our program here at Greenriver are having some fantastic results. A couple students that we just had graduate recently, um, another one, Toygan Sevim, he graduated from the BAS program and he was able to get a job working for Disney. I think at the time when he first started, he was talking about a Disney streaming platform that they were trying to launch. So my guess is that was the thing, Disney Plus, that some of us have been able to take advantage of. Some other graduates recently that also transferred, Kayla Lawrence, she was one of our star students that graduated spring 2019, and she's been studying MIS at Arizona State University. And then one last student was uh, Kaiwan Lim, and she went on to study at University of Washington. So, we are sending graduates all over the place. Those are just the ones that I can think of, and if I had a little bit more time, I could probably bring up a million other stories. But uh, I know how we do things here at Greenriver, and I think there's a really compelling reason about why we say you can really go anywhere from here. So thank you for your time. And again, please don't hesitate. If you have any questions or concerns, then please reach out to us and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for your time.